Hello. Wait, hold on. Hello. And welcome back to the world. It's your man, Big Boy, Baby Boy, back again. It's just a histrionically awful sign on. I'm sorry to perpetrate that against you all. I'm joined here today by, what's your name? For the purpose of the video, I mean. What do you want to be known as? I'm Big Boy, Baby Boy. What do you want to be known as? Mimsy the Punk has joined me today. Welcome back to another episode of Subway Movie Review. That's not a show. I will not make that a show. I'm sorry for insinuating that would be a show. We just watched the film Invisible Man, starring Elizabeth Moss. Known for her superlatively excellent career-defining role in, I'm going to go ahead and say, the greatest television show of all time. I just decided just now. Saw a debate on Twitter today where people were debating whether The Sopranos is better than The Wire. No. Whether The Wire was better than Breaking Bad. It's a horrible argument. Don't participate in that argument. I wouldn't. And I would just say, I think Mad Men. We're just going to say Mad Men is the best. Elizabeth Moss. Is it spelled with a Z or an S? Because if it was spelled with an S, she would have 3 S's in her name. That would be pretty good. You don't get a whole lot of triple S names in this earth, in this world. So I think that would be pretty good for her to have. Mad Men, what else was she in? Well, she's in Invisible Man. So she's in two.
Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, well, okay, she's in The Handmaid's Tale as well. Though I was, you disrupted my flow. Because I was going to say she's in Mad Men and Invisible Man. Two works in which she does not have the titular role. She's not the titular character. I'm aware that titular is not the pronunciation of that word. We're going to stick with it, though. Because it sounds good to me. So Mad Men, Invisible Man, right?
Yeah.
So it's two works of fiction where her character growth is based around the perspective of a man. In case you didn't know, Peggy Olson is the sort of the secret main character of Mad Men. So yeah, and then Elizabeth Moss's character is the definitive main character of Invisible Man. However, she's not a man. She's very visible. And I think they really missed an opportunity here. I think they should have, instead of making a fiction movie about Invisible Man, they should have gotten some scientists to actually make Elizabeth Olsen invisible and made a documentary about it and called it Invisible Elizabeth or Elizabeth Invisible, because I think that's a much more pleasant pairing of words than Invisible Man. And now that I have exhausted the most idiotic intro possible and people expecting a normal review of this movie have closed the tab, maybe we can start talking about this movie. Written a couple of things down. So they actually, basically they did something that the Invisible Man stories don't always do, which is they turned the Invisible Man into a monster, right? He's a monster. Usually the Invisible Man is a sort of a, man about town kind of highfalutin prankster. He's an invisible prankster, or he's a miserably invisible individual, such as the main character played by Chevy Chase in the film Memoirs of an Invisible Man, which my big brother was extremely excited about when it first came out.
So in that movie, is he not a psychopath?
No, he's a guy who is turned invisible and he doesn't want to be invisible.
Okay.
Usually you'd think invisibility is one of those when you're on the playground and kids are, and when you're on the playground in the 1980s or 90s and you don't have Facebook and there's not a lot of things to do or to argue about or to insult one another about, you begin these arguments about like what superpower you would want to have, like X-ray vision, flying, heat vision. A lot of kids would say they wanted to be invisible, and you'd think of all the things you would do, like you would steal things from people, or you would be some sort of a creepy pervert, or you'd rob a bank. Usually, the kids on the playground wouldn't say, "I'd love to be invisible. That way I could go kill people, or that way I could go be a serial killer." Usually, that's not why kids wanted to be invisible. They usually wanted to be invisible because it just seems fun to not have people see you. So he's an invisible man in the movie. Whatever, he's invisible. There was a part in the preview for the movie Memoirs of an Invisible Man, directed by John Carpenter, where the Chevy Chase character yells, "I want my molecules back." No, he says, "Give me my molecules back." That's a pretty good line. But also, you know what a really good Invisible Man movie is Hollow Man, starring Kevin Bacon, directed by Paul Verhoeven. Anyway, I'm going to admit I didn't wear my glasses into the movie theater because the name of the movie was Invisible Man, and I figured if I'm not going to be able to see the man, what do I need to even put the glasses on for, right? The glasses give me a headache anyway. That's my joke about that. Anybody watching with optic nerve issues, I would like to point out that the movie's a little bit dark. I'm going to go ahead and... Was it a little dark? It was dark for you? Okay,
especially in the beginning.
Okay, so I actually have optic nerve issues, and she does not. So it's nice. It's comforting for me to know that it wasn't just me. It was like dark. It was hard to make out people's faces, but that's my problem. I didn't even wear my glasses. That's not true. I put them on because I knew Peggy Olson was going to be in there. Peggy Olson is also in The Handmaid's Tale, another movie in which she...
That's
actually, I haven't seen...
Dark
a dystopian future. Yeah, I haven't...
Similar lighting.
I haven't seen enough of it. However, I'm pretty sure she ultimately has some sort of moment of triumph against the evil, the machine of evil men. No, I said I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen like 3 episodes. It was just kind of too. It's kind of like BioShock for people who have that John Waters quote about don't have sex with somebody if they don't have any books in their house on their Tinder profile. It's kind of what it was. You can go ahead and unpack that. Somebody else unpack that for me. Anyway, I really liked the fact that they used the Invisible Man. He comes up with basically the Invisible Man before, when he was still visible, was an abusive boyfriend, and the movie very delicately and sensitively treats the trauma of the main character, and then it becomes a monster movie where her invisible dead ex-boyfriend, who's not really dead, like obviously, starts to haunt her and do very specifically, obnoxiously, quite frankly, rude things. Very rude, ultimately escalating toward criminality. And that's just not nice. The cool thing is, you are going to want to put your glasses on for the movie, because even though the man is invisible, there's like a sort of a hidden object game every once in a while. There's just a static shot, and there's silence, and your eyes are frantically scanning that big screen, being like, ooh, what's changed in the last minute or so? What's going on? What's changed in the last 10 seconds? You got to spot the little differences. And that was fun. That gave me some fun. And it made me think, nowadays we got CG. Last time there was an Invisible Man movie. Not last time. I mean, I'm not the arbiter or the custodian of all Invisible Man movies. I remember, for example, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. There's a scene where the lady puts the makeup on the Invisible Man, and you can see his face, and it's like, oh, lol. And it's there's some kind of a technology going on there. Though now we've got these Marvel movies where people are desensitized to special effects. So I was wondering, and I came up with this line: if I were a movie critic writing a movie review, I would say, how do you show people who have seen everything something new? Let's revise that. How do you show something new to people who have seen everything? Well, you show them an interesting nothing. So the Invisible Man, the way they handle it with the little tricks, try to get you to spot his movements, it was clever enough. Clever enough, and I liked it. I would say the movie could have been 15 minutes shorter. Could have been 15 minutes shorter. We've arrived at our stop, which is the limit I've set for myself. 15 minutes short. I can think of 15 minutes to cut out. There's some preciousness in there. Some gratuitousness. Though, you know what? Maybe this isn't a spoiler in and of itself. I liked the ending. I didn't expect a movie about an invisible man wreaking criminalistic havoc on his victimized ex-girlfriend to have some sort of interesting comments about surveillance and such in it. But you know what? It was good. And as far as explanations for the invisibility of an invisible man go, I really liked that one. I liked the way he was invisible. It was a real Men's Warehouse moment, because you're gonna like the way you look, you're gonna like the way he looked, you're gonna like the way he doesn't look like anything at all. However, any nitpickers in the crowd might be moderately displeased by what can we call it? A gaping inconsistency in the laws of quantum mechanics perpetrated by the film. Now we're out in the dark and I'm the Invisible Man. Just want to let everybody know, we stayed till, we weren't there till the end of the credits. We left before the end of the credits because we realized there's probably nothing after the credits, because it's one of those like real movies. I wouldn't call it is it a real movie? It was real enough. There's nothing after the credits. It's not a Dark Universe movie. It's not the sequel to Tom Cruise's The Mummy. It's not Russell Crowe's Mr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde, whatever it's called movie. It's not that.
I think I enjoy watching The Outsider more.
We've been watching the HBO series The Outsider. We're liking that.
I think they have a similar tone.
A similar tone, yes.
And the camera angles in The Invisible Man are more startling.
You know what?
I think the camera angles are cooler, but I don't really like the story as much.
Of The Invisible Man?
Yeah.
You didn't like the story? Yeah, the story was, again, if the movie had been 15 minutes shorter, I would have been better with it.
But it felt really choppy.
Wasn't there supposed to be an Invisible Man with like Johnny Depp in it? What happened to that? The Universal MGM? It was going to be with Russell Crowe's Dr. Jekyll, now that I recall. He's one of the classic movie monsters. He's not really a monster. Well, they made him a monster. They took an Invisible Man and they made him an invisible monster, right? But you know what? In every monster movie, the monster is invisible until they decide to show it.
He's like a metaphor.
A metaphorical monster.
Yeah.
Although also in the movie sense, if a monster is the character that exists only to kill, he was a monster, I guess. But he's not really a killer. Anyway, they have some fun with the invisible stuff. I was thinking at one point there was, you know how there's the phrase eye candy that means special effects that look cool? And Guillermo del Toro talks about eye protein, where it's, you have a very good, robust display of things. Yeah, of course. Yeah, he said this. It's another man with the high prescription in his glasses. I think this movie was somewhere between eye candy and eye protein. It was like eye McDonald's. Again, the whole looking for stuff on the screen, like being like, ooh, can I see the Invisible Man doing stuff? There were a couple moments when the audience yelled. Right?
Yeah.
The audience yelled a couple of times. And what better marker of a good film is there than that, my friend?